In Football Manager, signing Wonderkids is one of the best aspects of the game, but sometimes it can be pretty annoying having to wait months and sometimes years before those Wonderkids are actually good enough to help your first team out and live up to their potential. But today, I'm going to try and help with that because I've picked out 10 Wonderkids that are good right from the off, 10 players that I'm calling Meta Wonderkids. These are guys that in the in-game engine seem to have what it's about and seem to always do a good job for my team. Before we get into my 10 picks though, let's talk about what we mean by a meta player. It's basically someone that performs really well in the in-game engine and mainly ones that you might not expect to do that job. Like Calvert-Lewin as an example, don't worry, he's not a Wonderkid anymore, he's not a pick from my 10, but he's someone that is a decent striker, but in FM is probably one of the Premier League's best. Now there's plenty of things that can make a player really good in Football Manager. Calvert-Lewin's are his physical attributes that are just really well rounded, and this year those physicals tend to hold a lot of weighting in game, but it's like any game really, there's just some things that tend to work really well and make a great player, and the 10 that I've picked out for you today I think will do a great job for you straight away and be top players for your team. Before we get into my 10 though, if you do enjoy the video, smash the like button, subscribe for more, and make sure to get involved in the comments down below and let me know your favourite Wonderkid in FM so far. But with that being said, let's go check out player number 1. Now I've done a few of these Meta Wonderkid videos before and I have no idea how I haven't yet brought up Christian Volpato in the series. He is one of the best Wonderkids in the game in terms of standout ability right away. A £7 million man at Sassuolo, age 19, who has a breakthrough prospect. You assume, oh, if he's not good enough for Sassuolo, he can't be very good. But actually, if you look at him, he's a 6'2" attacking midfielder that can play right wing or through the middle. I prefer him through the middle with that left foot and the player traits that he has. Yes, maybe not the best physically, but he's got a good set of attributes there to really build up from. No real flaw in his game. And mentally, you can kind of say a similar thing. Not amazing, but good in the areas that you'd probably want, particularly the flair and the vision. But technically, at 19, to have 15 passing, 16 technique, 12 long shots, 16 first touch, 15 dribbling, a set piece whiz as well. The set pieces combined with the long shots and the creative ability make him a brilliant option in this number 10 slot. I would say not only for Sassuolo straight away, but for a top level Serie A team, he could be starting almost instantly. Volpato is a fantastic player, available for about 7 million, and he gives you everything right away. You're getting creative ability, goal scoring threat, a set piece ability as well. With 14 corners, you're going to score plenty from those set piece routines. It's going to give you 5 or 6 extra goals a season on top of all the other stuff that Volpato is going to offer. And at 6'2" as well, he has that physical presence to really be a threat in that number 10 area. Now he can play other places too, but realistically I think you either want him as that number 10 as a creative playmaker or attacking midfielder, or potentially on the right hand side as an inverted winger or an inside forward. But for me, I think with the creative ability, with the passing, the technique and the vision, you want him in this area where he can hit a long shot, he can play a pass, and he can cause an issue for any defender. Next up though is a player that hasn't featured in my Meta Wonderkid series yet, but has featured in my Meta Defenders one, where we took a look at Isaac Toure, who's a 20-year-old defender at Lorient, available for 8 million, who has decent defensive attributes and decent mental attributes, but other than that, you kind of assume he's not really that great. And if you look at just the star ratings, which you shouldn't, by the way, I'm Chelsea here, so these players are being compared to Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo, etc. So don't worry about the stars. But if you did look at them, you might think he's just a bang average centre-back. But there's a reason why he's really good in game, and it's because this man is 6'8", which is one of the tallest players in all of Football Manager, with 20 jumping reach and 17 strength. So he's already super tall, he's going to jump way higher than everyone else, and he has 14 heading. This guy, if you set your corners to go to him, will score you 10 goals a season in FM. He is that powerful. Yes, he's maybe not the quickest, so don't play a high line or anything like that, but he isn't the world's slowest either, and he's strong, and he can defend at a decent level, and he's okay with a ball at his feet. He's a left-footed centre-back as well, which is harder to come across, and Isaac Toure is a very unique profile, and if you want a 6'8" centre-back, he's the one to go for. We've got another Italian up next, so as we head to Bologna, who obviously had so much success the other year career under Thiago Motta. It led to a lot of their players being rated higher in Football Manager, and one of them was Giovanni Fabian, who is a 20-year-old Italian who is just a brilliant centre-mid option with, of course, Wonderkid potential. So he could go on, and that goes for every player in this list, to be way better than what you're seeing here. But already at 20, he's available for about 10, 13 million pounds at most here, with some great player traits, 6'3", and exactly what you're looking for a meta midfielder. Someone with super well-rounded physical attributes, really good mentals as well, and then he's got the holy trinity: dribbling, finishing, and first touch, and then he can pass, and he can tackle, he can head the ball. He is a real all-round option in the middle of a park, and is one of the few players of his age group that can actually play in that box-to-box midfield role. Arguably, his long shots need work, but everything else is at a good level. He runs with the ball through the centre, gets into the opposition area, and doesn't move into the channels, so you really want him in these central areas. Box-to-box would be absolutely perfect for him. I wouldn't say to use him in the Carrilero role, which is sometimes seen as very similar to the box-to-box, but instead of travelling this way, he'll operate sideways between the lines, and as someone that doesn't move into channels, he's probably not great for that role. But box-to-box midfielder, I've seen this guy perform so well. I've seen him become one of the world's best midfielders in only a few years in that role, because he is just an unbelievable option with attributes of the highest level already in the area. I mean, physically, 15 strength, pace, jumping reach. He's obviously got the agility as well. He can tackle, he can pass, he can dribble, he can shoot. What else could you want from a centre mid, especially one that's 20 years of age and available for about 10 million? One of the most underrated options in this list, though, is someone that I don't see people talking about enough in Football Manager, and it's Victor Hugo of Flamengo, a 19-year-old Brazilian who can play centre mid, but I think needs to be in that attacking midfield role, either as an advanced playmaker, attacking midfielder, or potentially a shadow striker. Now, this guy is amazing in game, and you can see straight away why that is the case. For 10 million, you are already getting, I think, a Premier League level attacking mid. I'm not saying he'd start for every single team straight away, but imagine him at like a Fulham, a Brentford. He'd get minutes for sure. And there's a reason why he's so good, and it's because he might not be standout in one particular area, but he can do everything already at a good level. Physically, everything is at a good level. 12s, 13s, if not higher. Mentally, you can say the same thing. Might not be a leader, but you can get away with that. And then technically, he is gifted in every single aspect of the game, really. Such a well-rounded option, and it means that at 19, with that potential, being a wonder kid, you can really mould him into the kind of role that you want. If you want him to be a centre mid, if you want him to be a Mazzala, you can start training him into that early, and he's already got a great base set to build on. If you want him to be a shadow striker, again, you start training him on that early. He's already got the great base set, and he's only going to get better from there. In fact, he can actually play on the wing, but I think the left-footed Brazilian needs to be used in one of these attacking midfield roles, either centre mid on some kind of attacking duty, or in this attacking midfield spot, creating chances, scoring goals, putting himself about with that physicality as well. This guy is a great option, and one that never really gets a look in when it comes to the best wonder kids in FM. But we've got a winger next, and one that's having a really good time in real life at the minute, Strasbourg's Dylan Bakwa, who is a young Frenchman who kind of does the opposite of what we've been seeing with some players that are really good all-rounders but don't specialise in one thing. Bakwa isn't good at everything, really. I mean, he can't really finish very well, he's not really going to score many shots, passing ability is decent, but the real highlight with Bakwa's game is the direct one-on-one ability. He's got the acceleration, the pace, the flair, the first touch, and the dribbling to cause a nightmare for any fullback that he's up against. I mean, he's got 14 crossing as well, so whether you're inverting him off the right or you're having him be a winger on that left-hand side, he is going to be deadly. Now, I've seen him so many times in FM, and if you don't know this year, pace really can out-trump pretty much anything in game, and Bakwa, with the way that he does it, not just with pace, but with dribbling ability and first touch too, with that flair, he just tears up defenders in this game, left, right and centre, breaks their ankles. He is a great option, and again, for about 10 million quid, you're getting a player that's already an important player for a Ligue 1 side, so he's obviously got ability. He can obviously go way higher than this too, and he's someone that can go right to the very top in world football with that direct ability in the match engine. It really does a great job. Let's not leave the defenders out though, and up next we have a centre-back, a Burkina Faso international 20-year-old playing in the Danish division Legends for FC Nordsjælland, and his name is Adamo Nagalo. He's someone that's been on FM players' radars for a while now, available for a decent fee and a great option in many aspects of the game. Now, I think he has moved in real life, and if you have an updated transfer pack on, he might be at whatever his new club is, but either way, the same goes. He's a youngster that has potential, that already is going to play really well because he's got great attributes in pretty much every aspect. Now, is he top drawer at anything just yet? No, but once again, he's so well-rounded. There's not a flaw in his game physically, mentally, or technically that's really going to drag him down, and being so young, you really are going to be able to mould him into what you want to see. Now, I think he's a very good ball-playing defender for that kind of fee at that age. I wouldn't necessarily just say defend because he's got 11 vision, 12 technique, 12 passing, good first touch as well, and he likes to try to play his way out of trouble, so I think you want to encourage that ball-playing ability from him. At 6'1", he might not be the best physically, but he's got the jumping reach in the heading to put himself about. He's still fairly strong as well, so I wouldn't really let that put you off, particularly if you combine him with a 6'8" centre-back like Isaac Toure. But yes, Nagalo is someone that I've had great success with. I know many of you will have had as well, so if you're looking for a Wonderkid centre-back that can just step in and do a job straight away without any need to wait and see how good he becomes, Nagalo is the guy. And it's a similar story for one of my fullback picks in this video as we take a look at Arnau Martinez, who is playing for Girona, is available for about 8 million, a 20-year-old Spaniard who can play in that right fullback slot and also can play on the left, but I think realistically you want him either as a fullback or a wing-back. Now, I really like him because once again, he is just super solid, super well-rounded. Often you will see fullbacks that are just really good going forward or really good defensively, whereas Arnau Martinez is a nice balance of all of it that really lets you do what you want with him from that point. I mean, the fact that his best suggested role is a support duty kind of goes to show that, and Atletico are interested here, and you can see why, because once again, there's such balance to his game. I mean, the guy can cross and pass, but also he's got 15 tackling, 14 positioning, and 13 marking, so you know he's going to defend. Physically, really well-rounded as well. Not really any issue in his game. Strong, decent in the air, and fairly quick too. He's concentrated, makes good decisions as well, works really hard up and down the flanks. There's not much more you can ask for from a young defender, particularly one that's only going to cost you about 8 million. The 20-year-old is a fantastic option at right back, and one of my always go-tos in that position for what is really a position where it's hard to find someone that really sticks out, particularly in the Wonderkid demographic. So Arnau Martinez, if you want a tried and trusted defender who's just going to get the job done in the in-game engine, 7 out of 10s every single week, he's the one you want. But now we go from right fullback to left wing as we take a look at Myron van Brederode, who is an AZ Alkmaar 19-year-old Dutchman who I think is probably my favourite in this video in terms of instant output, really, because even though it says he's a breakthrough prospect in the Eredivisie, this guy can play at a Premier League level already. Now, Arsenal, Man U, Tottenham interested here, probably wouldn't play for them straight away, but Wolves, you know what? I think this guy fits in straight away at a team like that. He can play both wings, but realistically, I think you want to have him on this left-hand side because he likes to cut into that right foot. As you can see, moves ball onto the right foot before attempting a dribble. I think you want him cutting in and shooting. I don't even think you want him as an inverted winger. Inside forward always seems to do the job for me with him. A direct option that can pass, but he can shoot and score and dribble too. He's pretty quick with the way that he plays, and he doesn't lack for strength either. Likes to lob the goalkeeper and plays 1-2s. Whilst he could do some work mentally, I think there's a lot going for this kid already, and he's someone that in-game always does a great job. For 10 million, you are getting probably 10 goals a season straight away out of this guy, and obviously at 19 and with the potential he's got, he's only going to get better. I've seen many versions of Van Brederode where he's playing right at the very top, Bayern Munich, etc., and he has 15s, 16s, 17s in all of these main three areas that he needs: dribbling, finishing, and first touch, and he gets a bit quicker too. So you will see him having 15 acceleration, agility, whatever it might be. This guy is one of the best wing options out there in terms of cutting in and scoring a goal. Maybe if you have Bakwa on the other side, just running the flank and playing across in with his pace. Van Brederode is slightly different in the sense that he wants to get in and score goals, and trust me, he will score plenty. I'm choosing more of a bargain option next though in Adam Karabek, who is a Czech Republic 20-year-old who you can pick up for about 4 million that you will have to battle out the likes of Manchester United for his signature. Now, he is still a very good player, but I do also give give him a bit more credit because he is cheaper, but trust me, in no time, this guy is one of the best number 10s you will find anywhere in the world if you give him the opportunity to grow. Now, if he does go to a place like Man U, it can stunt him, he won't play and he won't develop. In the right team, the Sparta Prague man is exceptional. I mean, as a shadow striker, I love him. It's where I tend to play him if I ever do sign him. And you can see why with 14 dribbling and first touch, he's got the pace and the acceleration as well. He can finish and he can pass as well, and he's got good technique. So really, if you trade him for a little bit in that shadow striker role, before you know it, that finishing will be 13, 14, everything else. The 14s will now be 15s and 16s, and suddenly you are looking at an elite level number 10 in no time. He can very quickly go from 0 to 100. I'm not saying he's 0 right now, but you get what I mean. Right now, he is a good, Europa League level player, but this is an elite Premier League level talent in the right circumstances. I really do believe that, and I've seen Karabekh go on to be an 80, 90 million pound player in many a save. So if you haven't yet tried him, if you want a pacey number 10 who's going to score goals, Karabekh is the man. But it's time for the final player in this list now, so if you have enjoyed, make sure you do smash that like button. But my final option is one of my favourite centre mids in not just this year's Football Manager, but over the course of many of the last years. It's Lamine Camara of Metz. He's a £9 million Senegalese international, already well represented internationally. And I mean, if you've been watching this video, you know what I'm going to say about him. The guy is so well rounded. Every single attribute is at a good level, whether it's mentally and physically, where he is just unbelievable for a player his age, particularly mentally, he is way beyond his years, or technically, where he's good on the ball and off the ball, can pass, can shoot, can dribble, but also defends really well too, throws in a tackle, hits a long shot. Again, one of those really hard to find box-to-box molds, and I don't think you want to put him anywhere else really. Ligue 1 is the place you want to look for if you want some of these top young talents, and Metz have a great one here in Camara, a busy central midfielder who can offer a lot defensively and offensively too. Might be 5'8", but is still strong and will put himself about in the midfield. And he is the final of my meta players for my Meta Wonderkids list. If you have enjoyed, smash the like button and let me know your favourites in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.